I'm going to take about 15 or 20 minutes and review two books that I've read recently. One is Clockwork, and the other one is The Infinite Game. Clockwork is all about the problem that we talk about all the time. Owners cannot get out of the way. They just stay in there. Most business owners, probably 90% of them, they work harder, faster, longer. Can't do things they love to do anymore because they're just continually doing more and more in the business. And then finally the business grows to a point where they can't do it all anymore. It stagnates, it plateaus. You begin to question your dreams. The business idea you shared so enthusiastically with your friends and your family becomes a distant memory as you get bogged down in the day-to-day struggles of keeping the business afloat. Some of the solutions that we've been given over the years are productivity hacks. In other words, time management programs, productivity enhancements, and it doesn't get you out of doing stuff, it just gets you doing more. This is an eye-opener from this book. I never thought about it this way, but it's true. There's so many people talking about time management, blocking time, all the things I've talked about over the years. You become just the best task ticker offer in the business, basically. You're just doing more and more because you're doing it faster and more efficiently. Parkinson's law says our consumption of a resource expands to meet its supply. That's true with money and profits, and it's also true with time. Time, there's the old saying that we've all heard, that time fills the time allotted. That's what Parkinson's law says. Our consumption of a resource expands to meet its supply. So I said money is one of those things, and the author of Clockwork wrote his first book was called Profit First. And what he proposed, and many people followed, was take the profit first. If you want to make 10% in your business, or 12% pre-tax, or 15% pre-tax, take that from the revenue of the business every month and put it away somewhere. And then guess what? You end up spending less money because you have less money to spend. And it works. Time is the same way. Whatever time you give yourself to work, you will use. Whether you say, okay, I'm willing to work till 7 o'clock, I'm willing to come in on Saturday mornings, then you'll use it. Productivity is a trap. You set the time you devote or allocate, and you get more productive, so you do things faster, so that you take on more things to fill the time allotted. So really getting more efficient and more productive on an individual basis. If you allot that time and you're devoted to that time, you're just going to get more done in the same amount of time. So basically what it is yes, personal productivity is important, but it must be coupled with essentialism. It's not doing more is better. It's all about doing less but better. It's taking that time that you allocate and, number one, reducing it to 40 hours a week, and then learn how to say no. You got to focus on a few essential things. Remember the saying no may be uncomfortable for a few minutes, but saying yes can be uncomfortable for an hour, a month, a week, a year, or forever if you say yes to the wrong things or the wrong person. Organizational efficiency is the holy grail, the real home run. 2-second lean, all the things we talk about in getting essentialism, prioritization of everyone's job in the business, that is the real home run. You take it from a personal thing to the whole organization. It's about selective efficiency, not mass productivity. It's getting everyone using 2-second lean, everyone fixing what bugs them, everyone seeing waste and trying to eliminate it. Time, motion, and the other wastes. The author also talks about the survival trap that many of us get into, most of us. Get too comfortable with the work. You just love doing it, so you just get too comfortable with it. You like being the smartest person in the room. I always say that about my business career. I got to the point at the end, I had a big staff and I had a lot of things going on, but I didn't do hardly anything proactive. I was just sitting there waiting for the person to come in with a big problem I could solve, or the phone to ring, or getting an email where I could be the smartest person in the room. Putting out fires, saving the account, answering questions, solving problems. We get to where we love it. And we get to where we're just getting through the day, but disregarding tomorrow. We don't have time to plan. Sometimes desperation sets in, and then we go after any order we can get. We're going out there, we got to get the revenue. We got to get the revenue. And we start doing desperate things to make sure that we grow that top line, not concerned about the bottom. Well, to sustain profitability depends on efficiency. You can't get efficient in a crisis. If you're running around in chaos all the time and in crisis mode, you're never going to get efficient. As we said about productivity hacks, you just get more done, but you're still spending the same amount of time doing it that you've allotted to it. You get into the survival trap that we talked about, and then you just looking at day to day and keep it going and getting through the day so I can come back tomorrow. If you find yourself in this mode, then you're really losing the finite game. The finite game is winning, competition, set time. We'll talk about in a moment. But the finite game of business is you look around and you have no plan, or if you do, you haven't looked at it in months, weeks, or years. The competition is releasing new products or services aligned with the trends in the industry, and you don't have a clue how they have the time to do all that stuff. Industry and technology are changing, and you wonder how others have the time to keep up, much less execute these things. So I said finite versus infinite, and that takes us to the next book. Finite games are football, chess, etc. They're all finite games. The rules, the endpoint, the scoring, the competition, they have a winner. They all play by the same rules. They understand them. They're willing to, take a penalty when they break the rules. The way we all think about business, this is how we think about business, but we talk about goals and market share and profit percentage and beating the competition and outdoing the competition. But it's not. Business is not a finite game. It doesn't have rules that everybody follows. It doesn't have an endpoint. You can have scoring, but you pick the score. It's not picked by the game itself. It's not set forth before you start the game. Everyone scores it differently. The competition comes and goes. It's never the same competition. And a winner again can pick whatever aspect they want. They can do market share, they can do profit percentage, they can do whatever they want. So it really is not a finite game. It is an infinite game. So the infinite game of business is played by known and unknown players. Some competition, we don't even know who they are. We don't even realize their competition. All the players make up their own strategies, tactics, no set rules which everyone agrees to before they start. There's no beginning or middle or end or finish line. It is a game that cannot be won, but we all play it like it can be. As I said before, you can pick whatever claim you want, being the best or being number one, whatever it is, but really that is meaningless. Business is an infinite game, not a finite game. The finite player, they hate surprises and change and disruption. They are more managers and want to keep things as stable as possible. They don't like things they can't control or predict. They're focused on the now, the short term, and what they think is winning, which is a finish line, a winning score or whatever, and whatever metric they come up with. They work to get something from their employees and customers to meet their metric or their goal or their win. They play for themselves and they want to beat the other players. Every plan and move is a must-win in their mind. In products and services they can sell to people. They're looking at ways to react to what others are doing and watching the competition and reacting. On the flip side, there's the infinite player. They love change. They're always looking for change. They're looking at how they can leverage change. They work to ensure employees and customers are inspired to continue contributing and investing. They want to leave their business better than they found it. They do things to ensure the company survives them. They play to keep playing, not just to win. Their products and services they come up with are things that people want to buy versus things they think they can sell people. And they're not fixated on other players and what they're doing, but looking for new things and new ways to do things. So now we understand the problems. How do we come up with a solution for these things? And how do we take the actions that are talked about in these two books and mesh them together? First, with Clockwork, there are 7 steps. The first one is to analyze your 4D mix. As an owner, as a leader of a company, there are 4 things that really actions or disciplines that the book talks about. One is the doing. One is deciding what should be delegated and what shouldn't. The delegating itself, working and training people that you want to delegate tasks to, and then designing. Designing is really where you want to be. You want to, once you put this mix together and look at how much time do I spend doing stuff in this business, and it's probably going to be very high at this point, 60, 70, 80%. The deciding, when do I sit down and decide and plan and delegate some of the things that I'm doing to other people? And that delegation, how much time are you spending on that, training and helping people that you've delegated tasks to? And then finally, how much time do you really spend designing, planning, strategy, innovation? How much time do you really spend on that? Where we want to go is we want to be 80% of our time in the designing mode and probably 10% in the doing, 5% in the deciding, 5% in the delegating. That's the goal. Second step is declare the company's QBR, the Queen Bee role. Identify the core role, the function in your company that is the biggest determinant of your success. There is one role, and it's not a person. You got to look at this as a function or a role in your company. And where it came from was a beehive. If you think about a beehive, there are different kinds of bees in that hive. But the real queen bee role, in this case the queen bee does it, is laying of eggs. Without the laying of eggs, the hive will die quickly. So you have your army bees that defend the hive. You have your worker bees that fly out and get the pollen. You have your nurse bees that take the eggs and put them in the cells and feed them and stuff. You have people that are cleaning the area around the queen bee and keeping her clean. Those are all people that are bees in that hive, and it's the most efficient probably enterprise in nature to really protect that queen bee so that she can perform her role, which is the laying of eggs. And in every company there is a queen bee role. It may not be you at this point who are serving that role, but it may be. And the key is to identify it and inform and educate everyone as to what it is so that you can then protect that role so that that person or those persons performing that role can do it without distractions. So yeah, protect and serve the queen bee role. Everyone knows it and how they serve it and how to protect it. In a highly efficient organization, the queen bee role is a priority and systems are in place so that people and resources are not taken away from it. You got to build, it's like building a planning process to ensure follow-up and execution, because that's all part of it. Understanding what everyone's role is, what the queen bee role is, and what I need to do in my role to continue to protect the queen bee role so that it can be functioning without distractions and disruptions. Clockwork number 4 is capture the systems and procedures. So in other words, it says captures, and I have that in parentheses. It's not document. It's not the old plan where we go and sit down and document processes. It's a new way of doing things, and that's just simply capturing what the processes are. We all have video that we can do on screen, so we can pull up things on our computer screen and videotape it. We've got things like I'm doing here. We've got ways to capture with video and with screenshots what the procedures and systems are in the company. And that's what this is all about. Capture it in a way so that people actually can quickly look it up and quickly look at it and watch it and know what they should be doing. You don't have to create it. Clockwork number 5 is balance the team. And as we always talk about, get A players in the right seats. A players are people that have the basic skills, but they're eager to learn and eager to get better. And two, three, they're engaged. They're engaged with your team, with your vision, your just cause that we'll talk about in a minute, your mission. They're engaged. They're not just coming in, punching a clock, and leaving and going home. You get those A players, and you put them in the right seats, and you can be amazed what can get done in your company. Clockwork number 6: make the commitment. Burn the boats. Remember the story about Cortez, or when he went to South America and up against thousands and thousands of Incas, and he basically had, I think, 90 people and 3 boats, and he couldn't get his guys motivated to go against this huge army of Incas, and he basically told them to burn the boats, and that way we don't have a way home unless we defeat these guys. And so that's what they did. And that's what we're talking about here. Make a commitment. The old commitment about the pig and the chicken, right? The pig's committed, the chicken's just involved. Variability equals inefficiency. So we need to be more, consistent in how we do things. Like we said, essentialism, less but better. Say no. You got to say no to things. And ideal customers, we want to focus on our ideal customers and the 80-20 solutions and products and services that we can sell to those ideal customers, or that we can inspire them to purchase. And then you can put your business on auto, a business that works for you versus one that relies on you to work. To work meaning to work and function, and also meaning, in your case, to work 60 hours a week. So you got to say to yourself, today I begin designing and spending 80% of my time in the designing mode, a business to run itself. And you got to start with a just cause, going back to the Infinite game that we'll be playing. Well, just cause, what is just cause? Well, we talked about in Simon Sinek, who wrote this book, Infinite Game. He always talked about start with why. Why do we do things? We know how we do them. We know what we do, but why do we do them? And he's talking about that in our purpose, our core purpose. Those are really things that we bring to the table. Those are our past. The just cause and the mission is looking to the future. Where are we going? Something to rally everyone around. You'll never reach it. We want it to outlive us, as we talked about the Infinite Game. We want it, to be forever. There's a story about bricklayers that I tell a lot, and there's 3 bricklayers. Guy was walking down the sidewalk, and he saw the first bricklayer. He said, "Sir," he said, "what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm here laying bricks." So he walked a little further, and he asked the next bricklayer, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a wall." Then he walked a little further, and he asked the last bricklayer, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm building a cathedral." So which one of those guys do you want working for you? And which one of those bricklayers has a just cause? He'll never see that cathedral built, but he is building it, and it's inspiring, and that's what he's going to devote his life to. Mother Teresa, she said, "We're going to feed the poor." Well, she didn't feed them all, but she fed a lot of them, right? And that was the just cause, and it lived longer than her. Bill Gates, we're going to have a computer on every desk. Well, that's one that probably has been realized, but back in 1989 or 87, that was heresy. Nobody thought that would ever happen. Make America Great Again. No, these are slogans. For some portion of our citizenry, that is a just cause. Obama had hope and change you can believe in as 2 slogans. Those were just causes. So a just cause is something that, if you're going to play the Infinite Game, you must have, because it's something that lives beyond you and lives beyond your company. A great example of this is Lego. Their just cause is continue to create innovative play experiences and reach more children every year. It's not about being number one. It's not about any of those kind of things. It's really about continuing to create innovative play experience. It's not fencing them in from what those things could be. And they reach more children every year, is to reach out like Mother Teresa and feed the poor. So it lives way beyond the person that founded Legos, and the people that are working now knows that this will continue forever. Another part of a just cause could be a mission statement. These are new mission statements. At GBB, this is a real estate company and insurance company. We understand the magnitude and complexity as well as the emotional experience a real estate transaction involves. This is an experience that only happens several times in one life. But at Gurney, we are there to help them realize their dream and make the whole experience a rewarding one. We will be there as a support pillar to protect you, your family, and your possessions. Then it has the characteristics of the team players that we need to have to be able to accomplish this mission or pursue this mission. We'll never accomplish it. It's a just cause. Team players, eager to learn and teach others, deep knowledge of real estate and financials, interpersonal skills, empathy and patience for people, building long-term relationships, and every client is an opportunity. So you can see that this is a mission, a just cause that will live forever in this company. And we want to find people that believe what we believe and with these characteristics so that we can pursue this mission. Here's a industrial pressure washer company. We know people's jobs are at risk if the plant and capital equipment they are responsible for is not working efficiently, effectively, and safely every time a key is turned or a switch is thrown. We take great pride in delivering a total cleaning system in the leanest possible manner to ensure cleaning is consistently done faster, better, and safer to ensure people can support their families by leading a clean, highly productive, and consistently maintained operation. So in summary, we talked about time management and productivity hacks. They're really not helping you as an owner or your individual people that are playing there. They maybe get very, very good at these, but all it does is just get more stuff done in the time that's been allotted. So if I'm willing to work till 7, if I'm willing to come in on Saturdays, I'm just going to get more stuff done. It's really not going to help me or the company. Survival trap. It's getting in that mode where, it's just day to day, getting desperate and just reacting all day long and not really stepping back and doing the things we talked about in Clockwork, which is, getting to a point where we're designing and strategizing and planning better. And that gets into the finite mindset. What is the finite mindset? It's that feeling that, we got to win. Everything I do is winning and selling and day to day again, and that there's a finite end to this, and what's the competition doing, and reacting to what's going on in the marketplace. Again, in that survival trap. The infinite mindset is totally different. It's really looking at the future, building something that survives you, inspiring and engaging your employees and your customers in what you're doing, and not trying to sell them and push them into more productivity, more efficiency. So you got the clockwork, the 7 steps that we talked about, and the first one being really setting down and looking at how you spend your time. How much of it's spent, doing? How much of it's spent really deciding on what can be delegated to others to protect your role if you are the queen bee role? How can you protect that role? And what do you need to get others to do by delegating? And then how much time do you spend working with delegators and setting down with them and helping them take over those tasks? And then the last is, how much time do you spend designing? We want to get to a point where it's 70, 80, 90% of our time. And then before you start anything, to be able to have that infinite mindset, to be able to put this clockwork program together, you've got to have a just cause. You've got to have a mission that lives beyond you, that lives beyond the company, that really inspires and engages people in your company, not only your employees but your customers too.